The leather-bound journal lay half-buried beneath a stack of maintenance logs in the observation deck's storage locker. Riku's clawed fingers traced the worn cover, his amber eyes widening as he carefully opened it. The script inside was human. Those strange flowing marks that his kind had only recently learned to decipher. What did you find? His clutchmate Ven peered over his shoulder, whiskers twitching with curiosity. I think it belonged to Mira. The name hung in the air like a prayer. Mira, the human who had changed everything. Riku began to read, aloud, his voice stumbling over the unfamiliar cadence. Day 47. They still think I'm prey. Can't blame them. Every instinct in their DNA screams that a creature like me, soft skin, blunt teeth, eyes facing forward, should be running. But I'm not running. Not anymore. Ven's tail curled thoughtfully. She was afraid. No, Riku said, scanning further. She was calculating. The Kryn species had evolved as apex hunters on a death world, where the nights lasted months and the forest teemed with armored behemoths. Their society was built on strength, speed, and the absolute certainty of their place at the top of the food chain. Then the humans had arrived in their slow, ungainly ships, and the Kryn had laughed. Riku remembered the stories from the elders, how the human delegation had been small, just 12 individuals, how they had walked into the grand hall without weapons, without armor, with nothing but their strange five-fingered hands held open. The Kryn High Command had taken it as submission. They had been wrong. Day 63. Today I ran the obstacle course with the warrior cadre. They expected me to fail. I finished third. The looks on their faces, confusion, then respect, then something like fear. They're starting to understand. Humans don't have claws, but we have something else. We have stubbornness. We have spite. We have the ability to look at something that should kill us and ask, but what if I tried anyway? Riku felt his ear tufts flatten against his skull. He had heard tales of Mira's legendary run through the gauntlet, a training course designed to push young Kryn warriors to their absolute limits. For a human to even attempt it was madness. For her to place among the top performers was impossible. Yet she had done it. Day 89. They asked me today why humans explore, why we leave our safe worlds to venture into the dark. I told them the truth. Because it's there. Because the unknown calls to us like a song we can't resist. They didn't understand. The Kryn conquered their world and stopped. They became comfortable. But humans, we're never comfortable. We're always reaching, always climbing, always asking what's over the next horizon. Ven sat down heavily. Is that why they're so relentless? Riku nodded slowly, turning pages. The diary chronicled Mira's months among the Kryn, her struggles, her triumphs, her quiet revolution. She had taught classes on human history, and the Kryn warriors had listened in horrified fascination to tales of creatures with no natural weapons who had nonetheless conquered their entire world. No claws, so they made knives. No thick hide, so they made armor. No wings, so they built machines that could touch the stars. Day 134. Little Riku asked me today why I don't have fur. I told him humans evolved to run. We lost our fur because we needed to cool down while chasing prey across endless grasslands under a burning sun. We didn't run fast, we just ran forever. We ran until everything else collapsed from exhaustion. He looked at me with those big amber eyes and said, "That's terrifying." I laughed. "I know," I told him. "I know." Riku's breath caught. He remembered that conversation. Though he had been barely more than a cub, he had thought Mira was joking. Now, reading her private thoughts, he understood she had been deadly serious. Day 201. The treaty is signed. Humanity and the Kryn Alliance, partners in exploration. The elders are calling me a hero, but I'm just tired. Tired of being the bridge between species. Tired of proving that humans deserve their place among the stars. But when I look at the young ones, at cubs like Riku, I see hope. They don't see me as prey anymore. They see me as a teacher, as a friend, as proof that strength comes in many forms. The entries continued, documenting Mira's final months on the Kryn homeworld before she departed for another assignment, another world that needed a human bridge builder. The last entry was dated almost 5 cycles ago. Day 337. I'm leaving tomorrow. It hurts more than I expected. I'm leaving behind friends, students, a life I built from nothing but determination and stubbornness. But that's the human way, isn't it? We build, we teach, we move on. We're not meant to stay in one place. We're meant to connect the galaxy one world at a time. To whoever finds this diary, if anyone ever does, know that I was here. Know that I tried. Know that humans are not the strongest or the fastest or the fiercest. But we're here. And we're not going away. We're the species that looked at the impossible and said, "Watch us." Riku closed the diary gently, his claws trembling slightly. Ven was quiet beside him, processing everything they had read. "We should tell the elders," Ven finally said. "No." Riku stood, clutching the diary to his chest. "We should do something better." 3 days later, Riku sat in his den with a fresh journal open before him. His handwriting was crude compared to Mira's elegant script, but he wrote with determination. Day 1. I found Mira's diary today. It changed how I see everything. She taught us that strength isn't just about claws and teeth, it's about endurance, about never giving up, about looking at the stars and deciding to reach them. I don't know if I'll ever be as brave as her, but I'm going to try. That's what humans do, right? They try. Across the settlement, in dens and burrows throughout the young Kryn generation, other journals began to fill. Cubs who had grown up hearing stories of the strange, determined human now wrote their own stories. They documented their attempts at human-style persistence training. They chronicled their questions about the wider galaxy. They penned their dreams of exploration. Mira had planted seeds without realizing it. And now, in the careful script of predator cubs learning to think like humans, those seeds were beginning to bloom. Riku looked up at the stars through his window and smiled, showing all his teeth. Somewhere out there, Mira was building bridges on another world. She would never know what her diary had started, but he would make sure her legacy lived on. Day 2. Today, I ran. Not because something was chasing me, but because I chose to. I ran until my lungs burned and my legs trembled. And then I ran some more. It felt human. It felt right. It felt like the beginning of something new.